The moment Linda Monroe ripped the paper in half, the audience gasped, then laughed. Holding the crumpled form between two fingers like it was garbage, she raised her voice on live TV. "This is a joke, right? You expect to compete with this mess of a form?" Elijah Brooks stood still. 13, medium brown skin, red hoodie, hands trembling at his sides. He didn't answer. Just blinked slowly, as if absorbing the blow. Linda smirked. "Go home, sweetheart. This isn't a place for kids who can't even bring a clean sheet of paper." The studio lights burned hotter than ever. The camera stayed on his face. But Elijah didn't move. He looked down, then lifted his eyes, toward someone the camera hadn't shown yet. And everything started to shift. 10 minutes earlier, Elijah had waited backstage for over an hour, carefully flattening the corners of his application form. It had been folded, yes, but not dirty. The red hoodie he wore had been washed the night before, and he'd pressed his pants under an old dictionary. He knew how they looked. And he knew how he would be seen. His mother had told him, "Be respectful, speak clearly, and don't give them a reason to dismiss you." He had followed every rule. But rules didn't matter here. When Linda tore his paper, something inside him crumbled too. His face didn't change, but his shoulders dropped, just a little. The crowd laughed. Some phones came out, filming. No one stepped in. Even the other contestants in their neatly pressed uniforms looked away. A production assistant tried to guide him off stage, whispering, "Let's go, buddy," but Elijah didn't move. He looked at the camera, then at the crowd, and stepped forward again. "I just wanted a chance," he said, quietly. "Not charity. Just a chance." The studio fell still. But Linda scoffed again, louder this time, as if reclaiming control. "Well, chances don't come in wrinkled envelopes, do they?" Someone laughed again. A judge chuckled behind his notepad. Elijah's eyes flickered, to the third row, far left. A tall man in a dark suit, purple tie. He wasn't laughing. He stood. And someone backstage dropped their clipboard. Flashback hit like a wave, Elijah sitting in a tiny classroom 3 years ago, that same man handing him a certificate that read, "Statewide Mathematics Champion, age 10. Back in the present, Elijah inhaled deeply, then did something no one expected. He stepped off the stage, not out of defeat, but to stand beside the crowd. Behind him, whispers started. "That kid, he looks familiar." And from the judges' panel, one voice faltered, "Did he just say, statewide?" The double doors at the back of the studio opened with a quiet creak, barely audible, but enough to make heads turn. The cameras didn't move, but every eye in the room followed the man walking forward. Tall. Composed. Skin deep brown. Glasses perched just above sharp cheekbones. And the deep purple tie, unmistakable. Judge Samuel Reynolds. The honorary head of the competition. He didn't speak at first. He simply walked down the aisle, each footstep tapping against the floor like a slow metronome. Even Linda Monroe stopped mid-sentence as he approached the stage, carrying nothing but presence. Then he paused beside Elijah, placed a firm hand on the boy's shoulder, and turned to the crowd. His voice was soft, but every microphone caught it. "This young man is Elijah Brooks. He's my student. And the top-ranked scholar in the entire state." Silence. Linda's face froze. One of the judges dropped their pen. He turned to Linda. "You just tore the application of the student who earned a perfect score on last year's statewide exams. The same child who tutored 12 others to pass the math placement test. The same boy who wrote a letter asking to be judged on merit, not clothes, not paper folds, not status." Elijah didn't speak. He didn't need to. Because when Judge Reynolds finished, he placed a copy of Elijah's original certificate, retrieved from his coat pocket, on the judge's desk. Then he looked back at Linda, who stood stiffly now, her expression unreadable. He spoke again. This time, a whisper. Your laughter may have filled this room, but it never once reached his mind. And with that, he stepped back. The entire room stood still. Even the stage lights dimmed slightly, as if the atmosphere had shifted entirely. Linda Monroe didn't finish her smirk. Her lips moved slightly, but nothing came out. She glanced at the teleprompter, then to the control booth, but no one gave her a line to recover. The laughter she once fueled had vanished, replaced by a quiet, crushing stillness. A judge cleared his throat and stood, motioning for Elijah to return to the stage. Elijah hesitated, then walked forward, slow, deliberate steps. He didn't carry the weight of revenge, only something far heavier, the burden of dignity after being mocked in front of a nation. When he reached the mic again, he didn't address Linda. He turned to the audience. My mom always told me, your voice has worth, even if they talk louder. So I'm still going to perform. Gasps rippled across the studio. One of the stagehands near the wings clapped once, hesitantly, then others joined. The cameras tilted slightly, now centering on Elijah instead of Linda. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a second sheet of paper. Folded. Not perfect. But this time, he unfolded it with care and placed it on the podium. A soft sigh passed through the crowd. Judge Reynolds nodded once from the wings, arms crossed. And for the first time that day, Elijah smiled. Not to the audience. To himself. The performance was never aired in full. The producers claimed a technical issue corrupted the footage. But word spread anyway, first in whispered recounts, then on shaky phone clips posted online. Within hours, Elijah Brooks became a quiet headline, boy denied on live TV turns out to be state champion. Linda Monroe issued a vague apology the next day, but no one was listening. What people remembered was the moment Elijah unfolded his second sheet, voice steady, and finished what he came to do. He didn't cry. He didn't boast. He simply spoke, then stepped away, leaving behind a silence too loud to ignore. In the following weeks, the network released a statement. They promised better training, more fairness, fewer assumptions. But Elijah never responded publicly. He didn't need to. Because when a child carries dignity where others expect shame, he leaves more than a mark, he leaves a lesson. Even after the applause faded, Elijah Brooks didn't look back. He walked off stage without a victory speech, without a trophy, only the weight of having stood his ground when it would have been easier to disappear. That moment reminded everyone watching that humiliation doesn't define a person, but how they carry themselves after it might. In a world quick to judge by surface, Elijah showed the strength of holding still when the storm hits. If this story moved you, share your thoughts below or subscribe for more stories that reveal what lies beneath appearances, because sometimes, the quietest voice is the one we all need to hear.